welcome to Gravitas Studios, behind the boarding pass podcast. Beyond the gates, beyond the announcements and luggage claims, are stories waiting to be told. Stories of joy, struggle, hope, resilience, and stories that did not make it to the boarding pass. Every boarding pass carries a journey. Some bring laughter, some tears, and some reveal truths we never noticed from the window seat. In this podcast, we lift the veil on those hidden moments, the huddle before the boarding pass is issued, the lives behind the departures, the emotions behind the arrivals. Buckle up as we journey beyond destinations into the unseen moments and unforgettable stories carried behind the boarding pass. There is a scientific term most people only encounter briefly, perhaps in a classroom, perhaps in passing, and then forget. It is called sublimation. In chemistry, sublimation describes a rare and unsettling process. A solid skips the liquid phase entirely and turns directly into gas. No melting, no warning, no residue, no trace. One moment, the object exists, tangible, visible, real. The next moment, it doesn't. Just gone. In today's story, sublimation is not chemistry. It is human behavior. It is trust evaporating in real time. It is the moment someone you believed in vanishes, not by accident, not by death, but by choice. This is the story of Christy. Christy is 33 years old, from Agbor, Delta State, but lives in Lagos, Nigeria, married, or at least married on paper. For almost 5 years, Christy's marriage existed largely on phone screens, WhatsApp calls, voice notes sent across continents, and promises stretched thin by distance. Her husband, Chukwudi, lived in Wuppertal, Germany. Christy resided in Lagos, Nigeria. They were legally married, emotionally exhausted, and separated by borders, bureaucracy, and policy. Like many long distance marriages shaped by migration systems, theirs was built on patience but eroded by time. There were no shared mornings, no casual evenings, no spontaneous moments that make marriage feel alive, just scheduled calls, countdowns, and the constant question, when will this finally end? German immigration law was clear and unyielding. If Christie wanted to join her husband legally through family reunification, she had to prove proficiency in the German language, not conversational comfort, not survival phrases, but certified competence, reading, writing, speaking, and understanding, validated by an officially recognized A2 German language certificate. On paper, it sounded reasonable. In reality, it was a wall. Christie enrolled at the Goethe Institute in Lagos, Nigeria, the most recognized German language institution in the country. She studied with determination. She attended classes. She memorized vocabulary. She practiced pronunciation. She failed. She tried again. She failed again. She tried a third time. She failed again. 2 years passed. 2 years of exams written and failed. 2 years of watching time slip away. 2 years of marriage aging without ever fully beginning. Chukwudi tried to find alternatives. He consulted people. He asked questions. He explored different legal pathways, other countries, indirect routes, exceptions. Nothing worked. By the time Christy was introduced to me, she was no longer hopeful. She was tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes, the kind that settles into your bones, the kind that makes even good news feel suspicious. I did not meet Christy directly at first. She was introduced to me by someone I trusted, a confidant who lived in Belgium, a man named Emeka, someone who knew Christy's family, someone who vouched for her upbringing, her character, her values. In our world, introductions matter. Trust is often transferred relationally, not contractually. If someone I trust vouches for you, you enter the room already wearing credibility. We arranged a four-way WhatsApp call. Me, Christy in Lagos, Nigeria, her husband Chukwudi in Germany, Emeka in Belgium. The call was calm, respectful, almost fragile with hope. No shouting, no desperation, just honesty. They explained the situation plainly. The German A2 certificate was not happening. Time was passing. The marriage was under strain. So we discussed alternatives. There was only one realistic legal option left. Christie needed to enter the Schengen zone legally. not as a spouse, but as a student. Once inside the Schengen area and as a legally married woman, she could relocate to Germany and regularize her status under family reunification from within Europe. This was not a loophole. It was not magic. It was not fraud. It was law, complicated law, exhausting law, law that required precision, documentation, and patience. We discussed finances transparently. The agreement was simple and standard. Highest educational qualification. One fifth of the total fee is paid upfront. Four fifths paid only after the visa was issued. This structure protects both sides. It ensures commitment while minimizing risk. Christie agreed. Her husband, Chukwudi, agreed. The initial payment was made by Christie into my bank account in Nigeria, and the process began. I will skip the gymnastics, the admissions process, the school correspondence, the document authentication, the translations, the endless back and forth, the visa forms, the embassy requirements, the stress of incomplete checklists, the travel from Lagos to Abuja, Nigeria, the waiting, the anxiety, the emotional toll that no invoice ever captures. Those details deserve their own episode. What matters is this: everything worked. 7 weeks after the embassy submission, Christy received the call. Her visa was ready. For 7 weeks, she had called me almost every single day, not to rush me, not to complain, but because anxiety had taken residence in her chest. She barely slept. She spoke of dreams, of seeing her husband again, of cooking for him, of walking beside him as a wife, not as a voice on a phone. When the call came, her joy was overwhelming. She was instructed to send her passport via DHL Express for visa clearance issuance. The visa category was Schengen D, a long term student visa, valid for 4 months and renewable upon arrival, compliant with accommodation and enrollment requirements. 1 week later, the passport returned. Christy snapped the visa page and sent it on WhatsApp. The happiness was loud, even through text. She called me. She prayed. A long prayer, a deep prayer, a prayer full of gratitude and promises. She thanked God. She thanked everyone. She spoke about destiny. Then I made one request. Christy, I said gently, please complete the remaining four fifths of the agreed fee. She did not resist and she did not argue. She said calmly, please wait. I'm expecting money on Saturday, tomorrow. That sentence did not alarm me, but that sentence was the moment sublimation began. Don't miss what's coming next. Subscribe to Gravitas Studios. Behind the boarding pass, hit the bell and be the first to catch our newest stories. Share, like, and comment. Your voice is part of the journey. Saturday came. Christy's WhatsApp went silent. Her profile picture disappeared. Messages stopped delivering. Facebook deactivated. Calls unreachable. Sunday passed, Monday passed, Tuesday passed, nothing. I contacted Emeka in Belgium. He was concerned but calm. He reached out to Christie's family. The explanation came back. Christie had traveled to Agbor Delta State to the countryside. Poor network. That was why she was unreachable. I wanted to believe it. This was a woman who sent Bible verses daily, a woman described as God fearing from a respectable home. Emeka reassured me. Don't worry, she cannot run away with this money. But days turned into weeks. No Christie, no payment, no explanation. The visa was already in her passport. Trust, solid, visible, had turned into gas. Christie, done disappear. 3 weeks later, a message arrived, not from Christie's usual number, from a number beginning with 0049, Germany. The message was short. She said she was sorry. She said she did not have the money. She said she would invite me to Germany. She said she would cook eru for me. Then silence. The number went offline. Her husband's number also offline. No explanations, no accountability, and no closure, just disappearance. This story is not about bitterness, it is about reality. It forces uncomfortable questions we often avoid. What happens when trust replaces contracts? What happens when faith replaces accountability? What happens when desperation meets opportunity? Was this planned from the beginning, or did fear take over? Once success arrived, did Christy panic? Did someone advise her to disappear? Or did she convince herself she deserved the outcome without the obligation? We may never know. But the pattern is familiar. In African travel spaces, success is celebrated. The process is forgotten, and the agent becomes invisible once the border is crossed. This is sublimation. Behind every boarding pass, there are stories like this, stories that don't make announcements, stories that don't show up at baggage claim, stories that evaporate quietly, leaving questions where certainty once lived. So I ask you, the listener, what do you think happened to Christie? Was this intentional or circumstantial? What can realistically be done to recover the money? And where does responsibility truly lie? Because sometimes the most haunting journeys are not the ones that fail, but the ones that succeed and still leave someone behind. Thank you for traveling with us on Gravitas Studios, behind the boarding pass. Every journey whispers a story, and every boarding pass carries a truth waiting for you. Until we meet again, stay curious, keep your eyes open, and never stop exploring the stories that live beyond the gates.